When you think of cal units, you think of the mighty C40-8Ms, the sleek F40PHs, and the not-so-good SDP40-2s. God, those were awful. And in today's video, we'll be talking about one of these cal unit type locomotives, which rarely gets talked about. This is the history of the SD40-2F, also known as the Red Barons. The SD40-2Fs were built between November and December of 1988 for the Canadian Pacific Railway. Their design was based off the original SD40-2 but with a full cal body, which instead of the walkway being on the outside of the locomotive, it would be on the inside of the locomotive in the engine room, protecting you from the cold climates of Canada. It also comes with a Triclops safety cab that was designed with its distinct 3 windows. 25 of these units were built with the number range going from 9,000 to 9024, painted in CPL's Action Red scheme. However, units 9,000 and 9022 were given the popular dual flag scheme. Works, to be honest. The units would stick around on the roster into the early 2000s, with all of them still running and nothing really happening to them. Other than 2. On May 13th, 2011, CP 9015 and 9018, along with a random GE unit, was leading a manifest train somewhere between Suffield and Tilly, Alberta, when they would hit a crude oil truck stuck on the crossing. My bad. 9015 suffered significant damage to the front of the nose, with 9018 getting minimal damage to the right side of the unit. 9015 and 9018 would return to service on the Canadian Pacific, only with 9015 missing its mercury lights and its white stripes. This looks really odd. Really, really odd. In 2012, a certain fellow named Hunter E. Harrison became Canadian Pacific Railway's new CEO. As we all know, Hunter likes to modernize stuff with his PSR plans and goofball bullshit. So that's what he did. He retired multiple SD40-2s, old AC44s, and all of the SD40-2Fs being retired in 2012 for modernization reasons. One by one, they were plucked off the roster. Some rumors were going around that they would be rebuilt into SD30C Ecos. Sadly, that would never come to be. All units were stored in deadlines and reduced to nothing more than scrap metal. But not some units. The Central Maine and Quebec Railroad, also known as the CMQ, was looking for locomotives to buy, and the SD40-2Fs was exactly what they wanted. The units that they bought were as follows: CP 9004, 9010, 9011, 9014, 9017, 9020, 9021, 9022, 9023, and 9024. They would all have the original numbers and paint with CMQ patches, but would later gain a version of the Canadian Pacific script scheme, along with the GP38-2s that they later get. 9017 was the only outlaw of the others, getting a heritage Bangor and Aeroscript scheme. Pretty cool. They would continue running on the CMQ for 4 years until the Canadian Pacific bought out the CMQ and they got the SD40-2Fs back. Wow. With CP's new CEO, Keith Creel, in charge, he decided to keep the Barons around, unlike Hunter Harrison. They would keep the original CMQ paint around for a while, and soon started to get the CP red with the beaver logo, which could be seen on the AC44 CWMs and the SD70 ACUs. CP9023 was apparently the first one to get the beaver logo treatment, with the others soon following suit. Other than 2. In 2022, CMQ 9024 would be gutted out and turned into the first hydrogen freight locomotive, and given a renumber to 1001. And finally, CMQ 9004. From what I have seen, 9004 was the last SD40-2F painted in the CMQ scheme. However, there hasn't been any records of 9004 since August of 2024. Its last location was on Google Earth satellite in St. Luc Yard in Montreal, but it's still on the roster as of March of 2025. My guess it's in Quebec somewhere. I don't know. Give me your feedback. The SD40-2F's have had a wild ride since they were built in '88. From the action red life to being cut down by 60%, returned to their original owners, to making history. The Red Birds are an icon of the Canadian railways, and will, hopefully, see non-stop usage on the CPKC system.